Without a doubt, 2020 was a difficult year for a variety of reasons. The pandemic imposed travel restrictions that prevented many anglers from making their annual pilgrimage to Eastern Canada. This resulted, however, in unique fly fishing opportunities within the Atlantic bubble. In late summer, I found myself corresponding with Byron Coughlin, Bisey, owner of Country Haven Lodge, and planning a trip to fish the world-renowned Miramichi River. It was a unique season for the lodge and its guests. Additional sections of private water were accessible, and Country Haven offered some 27 private salmon pools to their visitors throughout the river system. This variety of water is highly sought after in Atlantic salmon angling, but especially this past season, as 2020 brought historic low water levels to the region. Our visit, however, could not have been timed more perfectly, as in early October there were bumps in rainfall and a few weeks of cooler temperatures preceding our arrival. Anticipation was in the air for all that could come from the watery depths of the fabled Miramichi.
I caught your soul in the face of everyone, but it's your turn to run.
Awfully hard not to put a butterfly on first pass, honey.
Yeah, well, walk it to her.
Are you sure?
Yeah, of course. I love butterfly too. Yellow or white winged, wouldn't matter to me. That or a copper killer or a bear hair or a green machine, all kinds of different. Oh, yeah.
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 We arrived midday, beyond excited to fish new water. Upon arrival, we met our guide, Jeremy Vickers. I made a few passes and a few fly changes, and then it was Derek's turn. He stepped into the river, and on his first cast ever on the Miramichi, he hooked and landed a gorgeous large hen. I was so incredibly happy to see the pride and joy in Derek's face, and Jeremy's excitement as he expertly netted the fish. But of course there are always mixed emotions. I wanted a fish so badly, and so I must admit I was just a little envious. But watching the two of them land that fish, and then seeing that fish be released into the river, it was truly a magical moment. I've often been told that you are unlikely to hook an Atlantic while there is still mist on the river. Our first morning on the Miramichi quickly disproved this old angler's tale. I had on a small, shady lady when my swing was interrupted. Fish on, and now to fight and bring it in. It was a tough one to control with aggressive runs and head shakes. I had it on for 10 minutes or so, and everyone was nearby, excitedly awaiting that first fish to be landed. But with a series of angry head shakes, my fly popped free. Such disappointment.
I want to put something big on.
Not catching fish can be frustrating, but hooking and losing a fish can really mess with your head. Perhaps it's because of how my mind works, or perhaps it's just how every fly fisher's mind works. But when Derek stepped in after me again and successfully hooked and landed another big salmon, I started overthinking every aspect of my game. And once that happens, you're in trouble. I tried my best to shake those thoughts away and remember, the important thing was there's fish here, they're taking fish. This is just a part of salmon fishing. I have to be patient and wait my turn.
That was fun.
The next day and work, he said, oh my God, he says, Kathy, he says, I've just been prancing. I go, why? He said, you got run around. I said, what? He said, yes. He said, I was so scared.
On day 2 of our trip, we took a midday break to tie flies with Kathy of Curtis Miramichi River Outfitters.
Right, okay. Saying you're going to bring it back 2 or 3 wraps.
The next time you are in Blackville, New Brunswick, you must be sure to stop off and say hello. You'll be hard-pressed to not pick up a few of her beautiful flies for your fly box.
You know how you do a wing sometimes and it goes like this?
Yes.
And it's nice to have a wing going this way.
Yes.
Build it up here because you're not going to see it anyway.
Right.
You're going to hide it with the collar.
Kathy ties thousands of beautiful yet durable salmon flies annually. Her speed, proficiency, and attention to detail is apparent in each of her ties. She is a true artist, and I cannot wait to be back at the Vice with her again. At the confluence of the Southwest Miramichi and the Cairns River, Blackbrook is one of the more productive salmon pools on the Miramichi. We had a day and a half left and I wanted a big salmon. With anglers fishing across from us in both the private and public sections of the river, I felt an explosive rush of excitement course through me as my line tightened and a large, bright fish leapt acrobatically from the water.
So much brighter. The colors so much deeper.
This was the salmon we would land, a gorgeous hen to hand that I couldn't help but give some love before releasing. An epic ending to a breathtaking 2 days, and we still had time ahead of us on this special river.
I've had my doubts, but they're all liars. You're the bird's eye view, I see much clearer.
One of the highlights of any fishing trip is conversing with those expert anglers who have made the river their home. Jeremy is one such angler. Hearing his stories of days past and present on the Miramichi truly brought the history of these waters to life. Jeremy and the entire team at Country Haven pulled out all the stops to make our first visit to the beautiful Miramichi a memorable one. It's been quite the time here the past 3 days at Country Haven. Thank you for all your hard work. We didn't expect to see as many fish as we did or hook as many as we did, so it was incredible.
Yeah, well, I know like sometimes you can't get them to take, and sometimes you just have good luck and good choice of flies and everything like that there, and you guys are good fishermen because you've made it work. You've all caught fish. You outfished me a couple of days, and I thought I was a pretty good fisherman, you know? So there's a lot of luck involved, a lot of, like I say, being able to pick a fly out that you think's gonna work that day. The lighting's different, every day is different. You could have luck with that fly every day, and the next day it could be the very same kind of same pool and the same kind of conditions, and you couldn't get a fish with that fly. You think when you got it all figured out, and then it changes. You didn't have it all figured out after all.
And how long have you been guiding on the Miramichi River?
Well, I guided ever since I was 16, just different times of the year, but always had jobs. But spring fishing and weekends and stuff, or whatever, just for. But then when Bisey got the Country Haven going and it started going pretty good, he took me on, and now I've been there ever since.
Jeremy, can you tell me about the largest fish that you ever hooked into?
Me and a buddy of mine, we were 10 or 11 years old, and we were catching a lot of fish, but we both got these great big salmon, and we couldn't get them in. They went to the bottom and stayed there like yours did, you know, and we were trying to get them to fight and everything. And I remember we laid down the grass and we laid our rods down, and we were laughing because you could lay your rod down, take your hand off, and after a while, one of them started to go a little bit, but we grabbed the rods and we were pinging the line and everything, and trying to get them to go fight so we could get them in. And it was quite a battle, but we both landed them, both fish. And we went home and measured them, and mine was 44 inches. Yeah, you got to put pressure on them, and when you got them coming, you got to keep them coming, and they give a little kick. You got to give them a little bit, but you got to pull them again. You got to keep them working the whole time, you know, without breaking your line. When he goes, you got to be able to let him go right away, because you'll lose them every time. Like, you know, they got to be able to go when they want to go. You got to know just the right pressure and everything. A lot of people lose the first few fish. You seem to be getting the hang of landing them now.
With all of us landing multiple fish in the first 2 days of our 3-day trip, we were on cloud 9. On our final evening, we had the unique opportunity to fish the historic waters of Doctor's Island. And at dusk, I hooked into another beautiful fish. But what a different fight it was. After a short, powerful run upriver, it immediately felt as if this salmon dove deep within the pool and just dug her heels in. I couldn't move her. She wouldn't budge. I tried all the tricks I knew, but in the end, I had to move far more than that fish to coax her to shore. As this epic battle played out, I couldn't help but think of those that frequented this island over the years far before me. People such as Ted Williams, Joe DiMaggio, and Marilyn Monroe. I wondered who may have outfished too, and what flies were their favorites, what salmon runs were like in those days. Just after sunset on our last night, I released the largest salmon of our trip. That fish from Doctor's Island was the best finale I could have asked for. And to top it all off, we hooked into a handful of spunky grouse the following morning before our departure home. Fly fishing truly takes us to some amazing places. This sport, rich in history, allows us to connect for a brief moment with something wild. And we make great friends while pursuing a common passion. Our trip to Country Haven Lodge and the mighty Miramichi was an unforgettable one, and certainly will not be our last.